Let's just dive right into it. Today we're unpacking a massive paradigm shift in how we understand human behavior. If you've spent any time observing office politics or studying psychology, you've probably heard about people playing games. And yeah, usually that has a pretty negative ring to it, right? But in this explainer, we're looking at Chapter 12 of Eric Berne's absolute classic, Games People Play. He introduces this incredible correction layer to how we view social systems. We're going to focus on the hidden power of what he calls good games.
So this brings us to a really provocative question. Are all psychological games toxic? I mean, when we hear the word games, we instantly assume manipulation. We picture hidden agendas, exhausting power struggles, and somebody getting played. But what if that's just not true? What if the exact same behavioral structures that cause so much drama are literally essential for our emotional survival? Let's go ahead and challenge that inherent assumption right out of the gate.
Okay, here's our roadmap for decoding all this. We'll start by redefining the games we play, then break down the actual mechanics of good games. After that, we'll see how they build trust and cohesion, observe these games out in the wild, and finally, talk about when good games actually fail.
All right, Section 1, redefining the games we play. This is where we lay down a really critical correction layer to older theories about our social interactions.
Let's explicitly define what a good game is. Basically, it's a structured, repetitive social interaction pattern that actively enhances emotional safety, cohesion, and trust. And the key here? It does this without any hidden manipulation or an imbalance in the psychological cost. This is a huge deal. It means not all structure is pathology. We humans desperately need structured interaction. Some of these repetitive loops aren't traps at all. They're actually vital emotional regulation architecture. They give us a safe container to interact, so we don't feel constantly exposed.
You can really see the stark difference in power dynamics when you compare the two. With exploitative games, it's all about extracting power. You've got a fixed winner and a loser, hidden coercion, and it basically creates this toxic emotional debt. But on the flip side, good games distribute power to build shared warmth. Everyone walks away with a shared emotional benefit. There are absolutely no losers here. The whole shebang is about mutually reinforcing our sense of belonging. The power isn't hoarded, it's shared to strengthen the entire group.
Moving right into Section 2, Mechanics of Good Games. Now that we know what they are, let's peek under the hood and look at human interaction purely as a mechanical system.
So how do these actually function? Well, the psychological underlayers of good games act as everyday emotional regulation tools. Think about harmless workplace teasing, giving a coworker a hard time about their ridiculous 5-pump vanilla coffee order. When done right, it lets people blow off steam and experience a totally safe emotional release. Or take storytelling. It lets us connect without forcing a rigid, uncomfortable vulnerability overload. These mechanics reinforce our social bonds and sort of soften our identities, meaning we can interact playfully without our egos constantly clashing. It's honestly a brilliant system for harmony.
Which brings us to Section 3, Building Trust and Cohesion. Let's see how these individual, day-to-day mechanics build into powerful, self-sustaining feedback loops.
Let's map out the first major feedback cycle, the cohesion loop. Walk through these steps with me. Step 1 is simply a shared interaction. Maybe that's a weekly team lunch or a running joke with a friend. That instantly leads to Step 2, positive emotional feedback. And because that feels good, it mathematically drives Step 3, increased trust. Well, what happens when you trust someone? Step 4 happens. You seek out more shared interaction. It is this beautiful, self-sustaining cycle that just continually increases stability within a group.
And working right alongside that is the regulation loop. Step 1, mild emotional expression. Step 2, tension reduction. Step 3 is system stability, which then leads right into Step 4, repeat engagement. The system-level incentive here is super simple. Just maintain cohesion and reduce psychological tension safely. By letting people express themselves in these mild, structured ways, the whole social system avoids boiling over. It's literally a built-in pressure release valve for our daily routines.
So here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. The real difference is payoff symmetry. The structure itself, the repetition, the predictability, that isn't what makes a game bad. The exact same structure that enables manipulation can actually produce deep emotional safety. The difference entirely comes down to whether the emotional cost and payoff are symmetrical. Are both people benefiting equally, or is one person extracting value from the other? Symmetry is the secret ingredient for sure.
Let's head into Section 4, Good Games in the Wild. I want to move past the theory and prove that these behavioral systems are operating all around us every single day.
You can clearly see these cross-domain transfers when you look at incredibly high-stakes environments. For instance, in financial trading, routine review habits act as stabilizing behavioral games that reinforce discipline without adding emotional cost. In chess, repetitive training routines actively improve cognition. Over in cybersecurity, simulation environments create these safe behavioral loops to reinforce responses without real-world damage. And in everyday organizations, informal team rituals act as cohesion mechanisms that drastically improve coordination under stress. Across the board, structured repetitions act as crucial stabilizers.
All right, Section 5, when good games fail. We have to be realistic here. Even the best systems have failure thresholds, and we have to know what to watch out for.
Here are the critical failure conditions you absolutely need to memorize. A good game devolves into a toxic one when humor just becomes a way to dodge real issues. It fails when quote-unquote team bonding completely replaces actual, honest communication. If your repetitive patterns are actively preventing you from resolving a problem, or if the craving for emotional comfort is blocking a necessary confrontation, well, your good game has collapsed. Actually, scratch that, it hasn't just collapsed. It's mutated into a soft avoidance system that permanently blocks direct communication.
Luckily, we have 4 system calibration counter strategies to fix this. First off, ensure interaction always remains optional, never compulsory. Second, preserve space for clear adult-to-adult communication. Third, whatever you do, do not use fun to sweep real conflict under the rug. And fourth, you've got to balance emotional bonding with functional clarity. Keep this logic in your back pocket so you can maintain the health and clarity of your own relationship systems.
I really want you to consider this core truth and let it sink in. Not all repetitive behavior is manipulation. Some is essential for social stability and emotional regulation. That is the massive paradigm shift we've been unpacking in this explainer. Structure is not the enemy. Routine is not a trap. When they are built on mutual respect and a shared benefit, these recurring social dances are exactly what keep our families, our teams, and our societies from completely falling apart.
Notice the ultimate contrast in outcomes here. A healthy system actively increases your optionality and flexibility. It empowers you. But an unhealthy system, it severely reduces your optionality and creates dependency or even outright entrapment. Simply put, a good game makes you feel free to participate. A bad game makes you feel like you have absolutely no choice. That is your ultimate litmus test for any social interaction loop you find yourself in.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder. Ask yourself, which games in your life are increasing your optionality and which ones are creating entrapment? Take a really hard look at the structural games you're playing in your organizations, your friendships, and your relationships. You now have the exact blueprint to decode them all. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and we will catch you next time as we keep exploring the fascinating frameworks that shape our world.